Hi friends, welcome back to Table Full of Joy. I'm Cheryl and we are doing a lot of Christmas baking this week. We have a lot of projects to get done. We are doing a new recipe for me this year. I know a lot of people know what the Samoa cookies are from the Girl Scout. I found a truffle that is the same ingredients as the Samoa cookie. So we are going to do those today. So we are going to start with, we need 2 cups of toasted coconut. I have 1 cup of toasted coconut left over from on Sunday when I did a gluten-free coconut cream pie, and that video, I'll link that one up here too with the rest of these. But we're going to measure out 1 more cup that we need to toast up. So let's get this kind of fluff it up a little bit. We don't want it packed. We want it nice and loose in here. So we're just gonna get our hand in here so we can scoop this out. We want to have 1 more cup of coconut. Let's see where we're at here. Okay, it's gonna take the rest of this bag. So we are gonna put the rest of this in here. This is just gonna go right on our cookie sheet right here. We're just gonna dump it on. Make sure we have it all out. Take our hands and just really kind of fluff this up, kind of get it really nice and light. If you have any big clumps like this, kind of break those up a little bit. And we are gonna get this coconut in the oven. We're gonna let it toast. And then while this is toasting, we're gonna move on to step 2 for our Samoa truffles. So this is gonna go in the oven. With coconut, you really want to watch it because coconut can burn so easy. So you really want to be careful. We have an 11-ounce bag of these caramels. These are just the Kraft brand caramel candies. We're going to put those over a pot of simmering water. We've got 2 tablespoons of milk. And we're going to put in just a little bit of salt. This is what's going to counteract all of the sweetness that we've got going on in these truffles. So this is going to come to a simmer. Our caramels are going to start to melt with the milk, and then we are going to mix up our coconut with our caramels, and then we'll start getting our chocolate ready to melt so that we can dip these. So after this stuff melts, you want to let your coconut and your caramel mixture cool to the touch. I don't know that you necessarily want it to be super cold, but you definitely want it to be cool enough that you can handle it, 1, and number 2, that it's not going to melt or keep your chocolate liquid when you go to dip your truffles in it. You want to make sure that your coconut mixture is ready for your chocolate. So this is going to take a little bit for this to come to a simmer, to get our milk and our caramels mixed together, get those melted, our coconut to toast. So we're gonna do a little bit of cleanup. We're gonna get our chocolate ready to go so that we can get it ready to go in the microwave and start melting that while we're waiting for that stuff to finish. All right, our caramel and our milk is starting to melt. So we are close to having this part of this all done. This bowl is hot. We need to get a pot holder or something to hang on to it. We need to kind of stir this around a little bit, get our caramel mixed into our milk so it can start dissolving or starting to melt together. We need to look at our coconut. It is starting to toast. Let's grab a spatula really quick. We want to give this a little bit of a stir. When you're toasting coconut, stirring is super important because your oven, all ovens, I don't care what kind of oven you have, all of them have hot spots. And so all of them are going to have areas in the corners where your coconut is going to be more done. It's going to be darker, and if you just let it go, you're going to wind up with really, really uneven toasted coconut. So we are going to stick this back in our oven. We're going to let this finish toasting. We're going to check over here on our caramel and our milk. And this is starting to come together. So let's give this a stir with our spatula. Really start to kind of mash these. These caramels are starting to really soften. We want to have these nice and mixed in, everything mixed together, the salt, the milk, the caramel, all of those components need to be nicely blended together. I'm super excited about this recipe. There's something that they put in the Girl Scout cookies. I can't eat them. There's something that's in them that just does not sit well with my stomach. I've heard that from a lot of other people too. I love this combination, the chocolate, the caramel, the coconut, a little bit of salt. That is a classic combination. I have had the Samoa cookies before, but like I said, they just don't sit very well with me. It's just not something that I can eat. So I'm excited that I found this this truffle to make this year for Christmas. It has all of those classic flavors together, and we can still enjoy those same flavor combinations, but not have the issues that the Girl Scout cookies give me. Like I said, I don't know if it's the shortening or the fat or something that they put in those. There's just something in those that my stomach just cannot handle at all. So I tend to stay away from all the Girl Scout cookies. That's one thing that when everybody gets so excited that time of year when Girl Scout cookies come out, I'm like, that's okay. You go ahead and enjoy them. And I'm gonna just pass because there's just some things that just don't sit well with my system. And so I just choose to just bypass all of those. And Girl Scout cookies are one of those. This is coming together nice. I found these really cute boxes, gift boxes. I actually got them last year, and right before Christmas, my husband and I both got sick, and so I didn't get anything. I was on the downhill side at Christmas, and so I didn't get any baking done. I didn't get anything done. We didn't pass out anything to anybody at Christmas. It was just not, it was the first year in a long time that I didn't do massive baking. I'm not even doing as much this year as I typically do for Christmas. This year has just been a little bit more crazy. We've had a lot more things going on that kind of took a priority over baking, but we are still doing a few recipes together, and we will give out some boxes to some people with all of these different goodies in that we're making this week. So this is almost there. Looks like we have a couple of pieces still in our caramel that isn't quite done. Our coconut is almost there. We're just going to finish melting this caramel. See, we still have just a couple little spots in there that need to get melted down, but we're almost there. But this is looking really good. Okay, so I'm gonna say this is done. This is melted. It melted nicely. This is beautiful. It's gonna be perfect. We're just gonna let it hang out right here over this water. We're gonna turn our heat off, but it still has a lot of heat underneath. We're just gonna let it continue to stay warm under here until all of our coconut is done, which should be in the next, I'm gonna say probably 30 seconds to a minute. We'll have our coconut finished, and we will be ready to mix all of this together. Then we are gonna spread this onto some parchment paper because it needs to cool, and it's gonna cool better if it is in a single layer than if we were to keep it in this bowl and try to cool it. So we're just gonna let our hot water continue to do its job, keep our caramel nice and smooth until we get our coconut finished. Let's give our coconut another stir. This is what I'm talking about. When you look at coconut, you can see the edges right here that are a lot more done, a lot more toasty than, let's say, the center of it. So we're gonna give this one more toss. Give this a good mix. And then we're gonna stick this back in. I'm gonna say we've got about 30 seconds, if that. Coconut is one of those things that you have to stay on top of it. If you put it in the oven, don't walk away and go start laundry or go check on the kids or do something else, because it can go from perfectly white to over dark in just a couple of seconds. So you definitely don't want that to happen. So you definitely want to keep an eye on it, watch it, make sure that you're keeping an eye on what it's doing. Okay, our caramel is all nice and melted. Our coconut is perfect. It is perfectly looking nice and golden. But let's put in our leftover first. Let's mix in this cup of toasted coconut that we had. I'm gonna save a little bit, like this much, out, because we're gonna put a little bit on top of our truffles after we dip them in chocolate. So we're gonna grab the rest of our coconut. We're gonna pour this right into our caramel. And now we're gonna take our spatula. We wanna mix all of this in, get all of our caramel and our coconut combined, and then we are gonna mix, or spread this all out, not mix, we're gonna spread this all out on our parchment so that it has a chance to cool down, so that it'll be ready for us to dip into our chocolate and make these little truffles. So tasty. This is smelling, I mean, I wish you guys could smell this. Toasted coconut and caramel is such an amazing smell. So we are going to get this now dumped out on, let's grab a pot holder still. Our bowl is still pretty warm. We're gonna dump this out onto our parchment. Make sure we get all of it out of our bowl. We don't want to waste any of this. Okay, so we're going to take our spatula. We're going to spread this out a little bit. Okay, so we have this spread out. We're going to let this continue to cool, and then we'll be ready to roll these into some little balls and then get these dipped in some chocolate. We'll get them finished with a little bit of our toasted coconut, and we are going to have an amazing little treat to put in our goodie box for Christmas. Our coconut mixture is nice and cool. We're going to go ahead and start rolling these out. We want to just take a chunk. It's a little bit sticky, but that is how those Samoa cookies are. They're a little chewy in the center. So we're just going to shape these into our balls, and then these are, we're going to melt some just melting chocolate. We're just using like an almond bark chocolate, and we will dip these, and then they're going to get just finished with a little bit of coconut on them. Let's put a little, just a tiny bit. You want to make these kind of even. Try to make them as nice and pretty round as you possibly can, just for a nice presentation. We want to make these super, super pretty. These are going to be fun. I'm excited to actually try one of these because, like I said, I love the flavor of the coconut and caramel and salt and chocolate together. I just don't eat the Girl Scout cookies because they just don't sit very well for me, so I just stay away from those. But we're just going to go ahead and form these into our little balls. I will have to give my hands a little bit of a rinse when I'm done because these are pretty sticky just from the caramel, but it's going to be fine. We're still going to get these all rolled out into nice little balls, and then we're going to get these dipped in our chocolate. Now, the recipe said you could use melting chocolate, you could use semi-sweet chocolate, you could use whatever kind of chocolate you wanted to use. This is what I have, so this is what I'm going to use to dip these, and I think they're going to be fine. This is just a good all-purpose almond bark that is used for dipping chocolates and strawberries and all those things. So we're just gonna go ahead and use that for now. This is pretty sticky, like I said. It's pretty has a lot of sugar in it because of the caramel. This did not make a super big batch, so that's not a bad thing, because that just means there isn't as much for my husband and I to snack on instead of putting it in the gift boxes. So most of these are going to go to our friends, which is a good thing, because I am trying to be good this year. I'm actually going to be switching things over the first of the year. We're going to start focusing a little bit more on making healthy foods from scratch and looking at the things that are in some of our foods and finding ways to make them at home and to make them a little bit healthier. So that is something that I've been doing a lot of research on and getting ready to start doing that after the first of the year. So we're going to finish. We have just a few more left of these to go, and then these will be ready for us to dip. Like I said, it didn't make a huge batch, which is totally fine. That actually works out great for me. So we'll just get the few dip that we've got. We'll let these set up. Pull off a little bit of that one. And then they'll be ready. We're just going to use our same parchment paper that we are putting these on. We don't need to get a clean sheet. No sense in wasting parchment paper. I'm just amazed at how expensive things have gotten just from last Christmas, when I bought things to make goodies last year for Christmas, and looking at the prices now, I'm just blown away at how incredibly expensive things have gotten. I hope that is not a sign of things to come, because that really does cut into the baking. If things are outrageously expensive, then I don't do as much baking when things are super expensive. So we've got one more. Let's take just a pinch off of this one, give this one a little bit more. Okay, we've got one last one here we're going to roll up. We're going to wash our hands real fast and get the stickiness off, and then we are going to start melting our chocolate. All right, so we have our leftover toasted coconut. We don't need our parchment paper for right now, so we're going to move that to the side. We have a bowl, and we are going to break off some of this chocolate. This is, I think we're just going to go with these right here. This looks like it's about 6 ounces. And we are going to do this the same that we did with the rest of the chocolate we had melted before. If you watched any of my other videos, we're going to do 30-second intervals in our microwave. And I think we are going to use a fork to dip these. The tines on the fork will help us let things drip. So while we're melting our chocolate, let's move our truffles around so that we have them spaced a little bit. So we have a little room so that when we set these down, we have things spaced out. We don't want them touching, because we want our truffles to be able to drip and dry without touching anything. So we have those all set, ready to go. Our chocolate, let's give it a stir real fast. It's just now starting to melt a little bit, but we wanted to stir it. We're gonna put it back in for another 30 seconds and we're gonna try get this stirred one more time. I'm thinking it's gonna take probably about 1.5 minutes, so probably 3 of the cycles at 30-second intervals, and that should probably be good at 1.5 minutes, but we'll see. There's a lot of factors that determine what it's gonna take, what time it's gonna take, so we're just gonna let it do what it needs to do so we end up with a really beautiful, smooth chocolate to dip our truffles in. This is looking good. Yep, I think, like I said, I think we're gonna need about 30 seconds more. So let's wipe this off so we're not dripping everywhere. Let's do one more cycle of 30 seconds. And this should be ready to go. We're gonna take these one at a time. We're gonna put them on our fork. We're gonna toss them around in the chocolate. We're gonna tap it so that we can get all of the excess chocolate off. And then we are going to put them on here. We're gonna immediately sprinkle them with our toasted coconut because we want the toasted coconut to stick to the chocolate. So we need to get these dipped right away. But these are gonna be super cute. I'm super excited about these. These are gonna be really pretty in our box. Okay, so we were right on. We said 1 minute and 30 seconds, and that's exactly what it took to do this. Let's use the rest of our residual heat that we have in our bowl and our chocolate to finish melting all of this so we don't end up with any chunks. But this looks good. All right, so we're gonna do one at a time. We're gonna just drop this in here. We're gonna roll it around. We're gonna get our fork underneath it. And this tapping is what is going to get all of that excess chocolate off so that we're not wasting any. We're gonna drop that down there. We're gonna put another one in here. We're gonna take a little bit of our toasted coconut and we're gonna go right on the top. So you wanna do these as they come out of the chocolate so that they get that coconut to stick. Otherwise, it will not stick to them. So there's that one. Let's get a little bit of coconut on this one while the chocolate's wet. And we're gonna toss this one around. We're gonna take this, oops. We keep losing this one. This one does not want to come out of the chocolate. All right, we're gonna set that down there on our tray. We're gonna toss one more in here. We're gonna put a little bit of coconut on this one. And we're just gonna continue on with the rest of our little truffles here. We're gonna get these all dipped. So I had to melt one more square of our chocolate. I have 3 that I didn't have enough chocolate for, but it's fine. So we melted one more cube of our chocolate. We're gonna drop these last 3 in here. We're gonna get these tossed in this chocolate, get them nice and coated, ready for their coconut. These are just turning out really super pretty. I'm super excited to try these. I think my husband and I will try one of them tonight together, just so I can tell you guys what I think of them, since I've never made this recipe before. So we've got our last one right here. Make sure this has enough chocolate on it. We've got some in the bowl. Let's just give this a good coating. We're gonna take this, we're gonna drop this one right here, making sure it's not touching anything. We're gonna do the last of our toasted coconut on these last 3. And these are super pretty. These are gonna be so beautiful in our goodie box. So here we have our Samoa Cookie chocolate truffles ready for our holiday boxes. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me in my kitchen today as we made a new holiday treat that I haven't tried before. Super excited to try this. I really appreciate you guys spending so much time in my kitchen with me. It means a lot to me. If you're new around here, please give my channel a like and a subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the more fun things we're going to be doing between now and the end of the year. We have lots of fun stuff still coming up. Even though we're close to Christmas, we still have plenty of time for baking. I hope you guys will join me again. Have a great day, friends.